I absolutely love airports. I love that I am actually between two places, leaving and arriving. I'm somewhere in the middle where all the excitement and anticipation is. It's when all the stress of packing ends and I'm tickled with this sense of adventure and my mind just begins to ease. I think there's so much joy when we anticipate something, you know? That excitement you have when you're looking forward to something and you kind of imagine how things will be and feel, and you catch yourself daydreaming and smiling at this imagined future you, basking in the sun and walking barefoot on different shades of sand. I love to be reminded that life is meant to be lived. I arrived on new lands in near darkness. There was something about that night that felt different from all others before it, as though a door had closed to the past where I could leave my worries behind. The morning mist dissipates with the rising Singapore sun. The light reaches out and warms me. I am like a wilted flower, bending towards this new, glorious golden yolk sun. Change is on the horizon. I love that in almost every corner of this tiny island there is something delicious being fried, steamed or smashed. From street stalls to fine dining restaurants or food courts to little grab-and-go chains, all frequented by locals and foreigners alike. You'll even find children and adults at convenience stores enjoying the quick and tasty pot noodle dinners. Food is literally everywhere, for every condition and every mood, including love.
Take my body, take my body. Oh.
Some of my friends back in the UK have wondered why I chose Singapore, an incredibly busy city, as the place for my year of rest. Why not a yoga retreat in Bali or in the mountains surrounding Chiang Mai? I can't explain the why behind the decision. Some of it is because my husband wanted to experience working in Asia, but for me, I am a city girl at heart. I love city life, the twinkling lights, the blare and bustle. I love even more to climb skyscrapers and take a glimpse of the future I have meticulously planned. Why is it when we are at our lowest that our body and mind suddenly needs to be in nature? What remedy comes from hearing the rustling of leaves, the buzzing of cicadas, or even the lapping of lake and sea over our feet? I have always been intrigued by how we human beings seek Mother Nature when we might feel lost, stressed, or unhappy. It's when we suddenly have this urge to drop everything in our lives, walk barefoot into a dense forest and melt into the emerald green. Home. It's a word that stirs up many feelings in me. I was born in Bangladesh and flew to the UK with my mom when I was 2 years old, when my dad was already waiting for us. That makes me, in the textbooks, a second-generation British Bangladeshi. As a third culture child, I have always felt like I have never belonged in just one place, and I am truly grateful for that. Even as a child, throughout my 20s, and even now in my 30s, I have always felt like I belonged nowhere and everywhere. I know there are borders and boundaries, sometimes even great big walls and partitions, but my nomadic soul transcends those lines. My feet were meant to walk over various lands. If I could, I would walk on water too. Food is powerful. It is a magnet to different people, bringing us together to one common place, the dining table, so that we can get to know each other better. I have learnt this from my Bangladeshi immigrant parents who settled in the UK some 40 odd years ago. My whole life I have watched them adjust, adapt and assimilate to British culture. But one thing that has remained constant is the food, their delicious Bangladeshi food. Food helps us stay rooted in who we are and where we came from, especially if we find ourselves uprooted and walking on new lands. I am so lucky to live in the world today where I can easily enjoy the different cuisines from across the globe, created and shaped by different hands. To me, Singapore feels like a dining table. It's a place where I had read somewhere that the beauty we find on earth are reminders of what will exist in a heaven after we leave this world. I am not a particularly religious person, but this has always stayed with me. I like to believe that nature is there to remind me that there is a wonderful eternal home waiting for me. Kaya toast is an all-day breakfast made up of toast with butter and kaya and is usually served with soft boiled eggs.
It's good, right?
It's now been 7 months since we took a one-way flight from London to Singapore. And in these past months, I thought about which one word encapsulates all the lessons learnt so far here. That word is regret. And in order to make sense of this, I have to take you back to the night everything changed.
We're here. Woo.
I arrived on new lands in near darkness. There was something about that night that felt different from all others before it, as though a door had closed to the past where I could. The journey we are about to take is not to a secret location, nor an unknown destination. This is a path well travelled by many others before us. The road to Malacca has been well beaten, but for us it is our first time. Sometimes we might think that spontaneity has to be about something completely brand new, or some sort of adrenaline rush, like bungee jumping, skydiving, or even jumping off a cliff into deep waters. But I believe it is more about listening to our gut, trusting our body's need for rest, throwing away a schedule, and seeing what surprises and new experiences will suddenly appear along the way. On a spontaneous walk in the middle of a hot afternoon, we let the coolness in the shade lead us down different side streets. Eventually, we discovered Lukot, a unique cafe that serves Kashmiri-inspired food. Here, the owner of Kashmiri origin described himself as the pandemic chef, since like many of us, he had lived 2 lives, one before the COVID-19 outbreak and the one after. His small business in the area had gone bust due to lockdowns and the lack of customers, and so he reinvented himself by learning to cook and eventually turned this little cafe into a Kashmiri haven. What was your first impression of me then?
I remember it like it was yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, first impressions count. You always remember them. I got into your halls of residence because someone let me in at the gate. And yeah, they let me in, so I walked in.
Babe, you weren't meant to do that. That was trespassing. It was a gated block, remember?
They agreed to meet at the gates anyway.
But you got there early.
You were late.
I was not late. I'm never late.
And you came in the opposite direction, you know,
From the car park side.
Yeah, the car park side. And I was on the other side where your communal washing machines and stuff were, I think. And yeah, I guess you didn't see me because I was under the shelter and it was night time and it was a bit dark.
You make it sound creepy.
But I saw you and I thought, wow, she's gorgeous.
Oh, babe.
Yeah, then you turned and saw me and started laughing at me.
Because you were trespassing.